What is a tax proration? Simply put, it's a seller credit to the buyer at the closing table. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, in our purchase contracts, there are two ways that we typically will prorate those taxes. Either due and payable, which is the Lucas County method, or the lien method, which is Wood County. A lot of questions I get are, well, my house is in Lucas County, so we have to prorate them Lucas. That's not the case. We can cross match. We can go from Wood to Lucas to Wood. It really does not make a difference. What it matters is that everybody agrees on a certain proration, because at the end of the day, like I said, all it is a dollar amount, a credit from the seller to the buyer. Depending as to how that purchase contract is written up, if you're the seller of the property, and depending if your taxes are, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6,000 a year or more, that proration, if done, let's say in the lien method or the Wood County method, can be quite significant. Okay, it's going to be a big number because Wood County. Typically Wood County is going to be more than, it's going to be your proration that you're going to give the buyer is going to be from 6 months to a year. Okay, so calculate or figure out what your taxes are and then plug that number in real quick, and sometimes that's a real big number. If you're in Lucas County, or if you do them the due and payable method, it's just within a 6-month period as far as what that credit actually is. Most of the other counties around Lucas all do them Wood County. So before, I guess, entering into that contract, you have to know the differences between the two, and what the amount is for one versus what the amount is for the other. I've been to the closing tables on both sides of the transactions, to where the seller, when I represented the buyer, the seller came to the closing table and had no idea because their agent didn't actually calculate as to what that proration was going to be, and they had to come up, they didn't have to come up with, but the proration that they gave the buyer was thousands more than what they thought it was going to be. Same side with the buyer. When I have property listed, I've seen buyers come in and their agent and or their lender did not recalculate the amount of seller concessions that they were asking for based on a certain proration. And so when they got to the closing table, they had to come, or they knew the day before, but they had to come to the closing table with more money than they thought that they were going to have to bring based on that proration. So before you enter into that contract, know one way or the other what type of proration you're going to use. And if you can't agree between the other agent and or between the buyer and the seller, if you guys can't agree as to a type of proration, then just agree to a dollar amount. Like I said, you don't even have to put a label on it. All you need is just an actual dollar amount so the title company can calculate that proration at the closing table. And that is it. But before you enter into your contract, know the differences between the two, because it could cost you either a couple hundred or it could cost you a couple thousand.